Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of A Fool's Paradise. Today I'm discussing assumption and the tendency we have to assume things. Now this goes both in business and in our personal life. So in business we oftentimes assume things, and then this assumption tends to become truth because we forget that in the initial stage we assumed. And then, time passes and we discuss things, and sooner or later we don't say, oh, was that an assumption? Oh, okay. We don't, usually. Now, in our personal lives, it's the same. We assume things because I believe we need to have a certain answer so that we feel comfortable. So we just say something, we assume, then forget that we made an assumption about a certain thing, a certain event, a certain person. We assume what other people think about us, about other things. We assume what their motivations are. We assume why they did this or that. We make so many assumptions on a daily basis that in reality we make sort of a cell out of these assumptions. And then we do not verify. We make an assumption of let's say of a person, and we sort of confirm that assumption because we may look for that in that certain person or event or company or whatever it is. And this wreaks a lot of havoc, I think, because we start making up stories in our own head. Stories that are illusions, not based on reality, but on our own fiction. And this is not helping us. So we need to realize and understand, both in business and in personal life, in relationships, let's say relationships, because business is relationships, our personal lives, if you want to call it that, or I want to call it that, are relationships. We relate to people, we relate to businesses, we relate to one another, to nature, to everything we relate. So in these relations, let's try to understand why we assume, and then when we catch ourselves assuming something, let's say, okay, red alert, this is an assumption. Let's try to find out what the truth is, as much as we can, of course, find the truth, whatever that may be. This way it'll help us a lot, I think, to not have assumptions. Our personal relationships, our relationships will be so much better if we just ask the person, hey, whatever you want to ask them. They say, no, but it's not even true. Oh, okay. Then you can step out of your stories that you've built in your head, or we've built, let's say we all do this. And it's much easier. And in business, we may make assumptions, that's fine, even in personal life. We make assumptions, all right, business, but then we have to confirm these assumptions like a doctor, like a scientist. We know, okay, we made an assumption, we made a hypothesis. It's an assumption that we now have to confirm in the customer, in the product, or whichever way. And this will help us to grow, to have better relationships. And that's the key, I think, to having to being happy. When you have good relationships. And I think one of the cornerstones of having great relationships is not assuming, asking. Yeah, this is it for today's episode on assumption. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Comment wherever you are right now, or on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, and let me know what you think And as always, share if you dare, share if you care. Have a sunny day and see you on the next episode of A Fool's Paradise.